But first and foremost, let's talk about this thing and these speeding tickets, because I know that's what y'all all came for. I know that's what y'all want to get to, because I don't think, shout out to some of the people out there. I didn't get to see a lot of the rebuttals or the discourse out there. I haven't even been able to watch my show, like I said. But here's the thing. When I saw it and I caught up on it and I looked at some of the stuff, I just told myself, I know they ain't about to, I know you ain't tripping. Let me give you, I know you ain't, I know we not talking about speeding. I know we not talking about no traffic tickets. So let me start off by saying this. And this is my thing, and I'm gonna send this out to Shedeur Sanders. Drive slow, homie. Let me tell you something, man. I've been there. Everybody have been there. Last year, I got a speeding ticket going to work 3 times in a row. I had to figure out where the little laser was at. I'm like, oh, it's the cop standing right there. He was hiding behind a tree on the bridge right before I got downtown. 3 tickets in a row. And my license plates is personalized, so I couldn't even lie about it. I'm like, dang, G. Bush license plates. They knew who it was. And, I looked at it, and I go back to a time when I was younger. And I was a guy that was into car culture. I was a guy that loved tinted windows, rims. I like loud music. I like my speakers beating. I like my trunk rattling. That's how I used to get down. I remember being at Ohio University, being like, I had a Ford Taurus, man. Ford Taurus, and we used to always drive, and I had the tinted windows and the sound system. Now, everybody know about the sound systems, know that you got to get a alarm system, you got to do all this other stuff, man. So I got the alarm system for it, right? My system got stolen 3, 4, 5 times. Came back to the trunk, all the subwoofers was out of here, right? This early 2000s. And I remember when I used to always drive, we used to drive around, and I just kept getting pulled over. And I'm like, listen, I'm not doing nothing. I'm driving the speed limit. I ain't got no drugs on me. Why are these people still pulling me over? The one time they pulled me over, it was quite embarrassing. They pulled me over and got me out of the car, and I was with my girlfriend and my 2 friends in the back. They had the drug dogs, and they searched the car, did all of this stuff. Found out that the car was registered to my father. I got perfect insurance. I ain't got no felonies, no warrants, no tattoos, no nothing. And we went, and I was so mad that they did that in front of everybody in the middle of the street that I turned around and I went to the precinct, right? I went to the precinct like, listen, this is unacceptable. How you gonna pull me over doing this, that, and the third? And I was upset. And then you know what? I called my mom and I was still upset. Then I talked to my dad and I was still mad. I'm like, how they gonna do that? You know what he told me? He said, listen, he put me on. He said, son, there's rules and regulations. And I said, yeah, I know. I ain't break none of them. He said, oh no. But let me tell you, you got a different set of them. It was the first time I had a conversation about what it is and how things move. He said, when you're an athlete, you're a good student, people look up to you, you're charismatic, you're going places, everybody don't like that. And sometimes it's hard for you to have to sit there and realize that you got a separate set of rules. And he said, I would not be teaching you correctly if I didn't tell you, I know you like loud music. I know you like driving a little fast sometimes. I know you like tinted windows and loud sound system and rims. He said, but those things bring attention. And sometimes some attention you don't need. He said, I know you won't understand it now, but you'll get it when you get older. And by the time you get ready to have kids, you'll understand that you'll have to talk to your son and say, listen, certain things, as a Black man in America, you just have to learn. You have to figure out. And as I got older and I looked around and I grew up, I sure did grow out of those things. I started to realize, I don't need no rims. Started to realize, yeah, if I got this car system in, it done got stolen 3 times. Man, I don't really like engaging with officers and cops after dark. As a matter of fact, I like to stay to myself. But guess what? Without those experiences, without the grace of God giving me the ability to go through things and show me things, I would have never grown to this point. I would have never understood if I didn't get pulled out of my car with police dogs and canines everywhere, and I'm standing there with my car right there, and then I'm like, they're insinuating this, that, and the third. If I would have never went through that, I would never be at a place where I could understand what my dad was telling me at that time. And the reality of this situation is sometimes I get a little upset with the media, because the media, they act like they care. Let's be frank, they don't care about that. They don't care that he was driving fast. They don't care about none of that. They care about stories and what narratives they can build. And the thing I mentioned in Shedeur Sanders is this, because I go to schools, I go to jails. I don't just write my story and go home. I'm at the prisons. I'm at the schools speaking all the time, just like Shedeur does. And the one thing I have to say is, outside of football, I don't want to keep losing people, young, solid brothers. I don't want to, because listen, there's few and far between of us. And I know people are going to say, well, listen, G. Bush, why are you making this thing? No, listen. If you don't understand, you don't understand. You can move on. I'm talking to who I'm talking to. I care about all these guys as people. I don't want to see you get hurt. I don't want to see you get killed. I'm looking at it from a standpoint that people will care about you as an individual. I said the same thing when Myles Garrett flipped his car. People don't know this. I knew about the Myles Garrett situation before anybody did. I got some information that it was coming down the pipeline, and I also got the pictures. And the first thing that I thought about was, he done either he can't walk, he done lost his life. And I'm just sitting there looking at this wreckage being like, man, this is wild, man. And I got really emotional and I got really upset when people started to insinuate that Myles Garrett somehow needed to apologize for the Cleveland Browns when he could have lost his life. When he could have been, somebody's son could have been gone. I'm old enough to remember Derek Thomas, one of the greatest defensive ends. I used to watch him because I played defensive end. I loved him, loved the way he played. And he ended up crashing his car, got paralyzed from the neck down, ended up passing away. And to me, those stories always stick with me. And I'm saying this because I care about each and every individual, not just talking about what the ramification. See, I don't like when people start, don't use no situation where you can learn from something and talk about some reps in the next situation. That's how you tell on yourself. How you gonna talk about something when somebody could have, like, if you're gonna be concerned, be concerned. But all that extra stuff, when you put all the extra stuff on top about, well, that means he ain't getting no reps. Boy, get up out of here. That's what irks me and makes me mad, because you're virtue signaling. You don't care nothing about that. And for my thing is, I just leave it at this and say, Shedeur, we all out and all been there. I still drive fast. Every one of these people that's in the industry that's writing these journals, writing these articles, they drive fast too. It is only by the grace of God that either you don't get the ticket or something bad happens. At the end of the day, you'll learn, you'll understand it, and you'll keep it pushing. Now, for the rest of y'all, let me get to y'all. Let me get to you, the rest of y'all. My problem with the rest of y'all is y'all talking about speeding. It's not about speeding at all. I know you, it's not about speeding at all. Because let me give you this story. So back when we got, let's go back a couple years. When they got Odell Beckham Jr., the line was, he doesn't want to be here. He was traded here. He don't want to be here. He's a diva. He wears funny cleats. Why does he do this? He does celebrations. We don't like him. Okay. You keep going forward. You get to a situation, you're like, all right, well, you get to Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett hit somebody with a helmet. He could have hurt somebody. He drove his car fast. He asked for a new contract. We don't like any of that. Well, you ask him, you say, well, what did Myles Garrett swing his helmet at Mason Rudolph for? We forget about that? Because he said he called him a racial slur. But that part just gets missed. We dismiss it because we don't like what you're doing. Your behavior. We talk about Ja Morant all the time. We talk about Ja Morant. He got guns in his video. Guns in his videos and his TikTok videos. What are you guys going to say about it? All the gun violence in your community, what are you going to say about it? You know what I said about it? I said, how is it that when we talk about gun violence, we talk about all these other things, we got a double standard because our elected officials can have a Christmas picture. Look it up. You can find it. All you do is a simple Google search. After a school shooting, they taking a family picture in their pajamas with AR-15s. But every 5 seconds, you want me to comment on Ja Morant. Who's more important? Elected officials that dictate what you do with your life, your rights, rules, regulations? Maybe. We talked about Deshaun Watson. 36 cases, all these allegations. We talked allegation gate for a whole year. It was the most miserable time of my life. We talked allegation gate years, right? During that time, when I mentioned, bro, he got acquitted by 2 grand juries in the state of Texas. Do you know what that means? People still called him whatever they was gonna call him. But let's keep it real. You know how many messages I got behind the scene? You're covering up for him. You're a pedophile too. All these things. You're condoning it. All kind of racial, all kind of stuff, all kind of extra stuff. It's part of the game. I just said, okay, I'm just telling you how I feel about the situation. But we talked about that for 2 years, 2 straight years. Then Justin Tucker came along and magically nobody wanted to talk about anything. No, we don't need to talk about that. It's different. It's different. He's a kicker. He was a quarterback. It's different. He got the contract. He was a kicker. It was different. Same amount of allegations. 10, 12 allegations. I thought when you said 1 was enough to investigate. We get to Shedeur Sanders. We need to bring him down a notch. Too arrogant. Doesn't know. Too immature. This, that. Keep going on. All the above, letter D. And my thing is it really about what they're doing? And I tell you no. Because it's not about what these athletes or these people are doing. It doesn't matter if it's assault, speeding tickets, wanting a new contract, whether or not they get in altercations, whether or not they wear cleats, it's the same thing. The quest is, and the goal is, and it's always been and continues to be an underlining issue of You stay in your place. We will dictate what your narrative is. We will dictate what you are in the general public. Doesn't matter what you say or do, because we have the ultimate editing power. It doesn't matter. Think about it. Just be clear about it. We do this a lot. See, I've been in this game 10, 15 years. I was one of the people that still was remembering that people was talking about kneeling for the flag. You see, I done shows in this game. I'm still old enough to remember when there was people talking about shut up and dribble. It was disrespectful for the flag. Huh? It was disrespectful. And you know what I said on my radio show? I said, if it's disrespectful, why at SEC football games is you still waving the Confederate flag high? That's the most disrespectful thing you can do. That is a disrespectful thing, to wave that flag next to that flag. We had a thing called the Civil War over that. Don't tell me about the disrespect. Until you stop waving that Confederate flag at every SEC game, don't you tell me about what kneeling means and don't mean. You see, here's the thing. When we come up and we grow and we get into this industry, the first thing they tell you, they set the rules of regulations. They tell you the first thing to do, you leave all the rest of the stuff out of it. You don't talk about no world news, no politics, no money, no financial wealth, success. Don't you talk about don't you talk about your faith? They tell you everything you can't talk about, but I always tell you what you can talk about. You can talk about the speeding tickets, you can talk about getting in trouble, you can talk about why your fathers ain't there. They can talk about everything, but you don't talk about nothing that counts. Why would I come up in this country, and why would I come up in here and not educate myself on what's going on in the world? And when you educate yourself on what's going on in the world, you start to come back to this stuff and you realize that it don't matter. You start to realize it was all fabricated. You start to realize that people said they believed in one thing and they didn't believe in none of that. I got in this game and I actually thought this was about sports talk. I got here and thought we was talking about sports. I got here and thought we was talking about who's the best player. I really felt like this is great. This is a great living. I can talk about basketball and how the team gets better. But no, I got here and realized it was a totally different world. And it was all fabricated. You see, maybe it's me, but you tell me I can't talk about certain things. Maybe it's because you don't want nobody illuminating why you feel uncomfortable. See, right now as we speak, we could talk about 2 traffic tickets and everybody is speeding, or we could talk about that you could be a 30-time felon and be the best. You could be the most powerful man in the country. You can be whatever you want to be. You could be a senator. You could be a senator that sits up in an office and says that 9/11 never happened, that it was staged. These are people who dictate our lives, who write laws, policy for your communities. At this very point, they are taking school lunch programs away from people. People that work their whole lives for pensions, working in government offices. They got guys up there with chainsaws laughing and joking because they're getting fired. People with no options for food or water. So be it. But all of a sudden, you telling me, morally, you taking a stand on traffic tickets? Get off my porch. At some point in time, what you got to start doing is this. I am unmoved what you're talking about. I am unfazed about what you're talking about. And no, I'm not going to serve somebody up on some sort of platter so that you can have your pound of red flag. Because it seems to me that we get a lot of people that be running around with these tiki torches looking for the next thing that you done did so you can stay in your place. But the rest of the world, oblivious to it. We in World War, we doing crazy stuff right now. People is telling us in real time that diversity, equity, and inclusion is a bad thing. Let it sink in. That's the 2025 I live in. The 2025 I live in right now. Do you know? This is crazy to me. This is crazy. You know, I live this. My wife won't even go on vacation this year. You know why? She's here. We're married on a K-1 visa. She got all her papers, documentation, whatever she wants. But she's scared to leave the country because she think they might not let her back in. That's the 2025 that people are living in this country. And I don't have, and maybe if you don't like reality checks and you don't like what I'm talking about, please check off. Because I don't respect people who don't respect and understand what's going on in this world. If you want to put your head in the sand and talk about football, fine, talk about football. But if I look around, we ain't been talking about football for a very long time. Every time I turn the TV on, it's another narrative, it's another guest, it's another opinion, it's another this and another that. So at the end of the day, you will not silence me in saying what I'm going to say. Because at the end of the day, you're not moving me either way. You don't control what I do and how I move. The reality is, people who talk about speeding tickets don't give a damn about speeding tickets. They speed. People don't give a damn about what nobody is doing outside of nothing. Or else we wouldn't be putting the people that we put in places to make powerful decisions if we really cared about any sort of character at all. I told myself, I ain't talking about no character no more. Miss me with that. When they pardon rioters, I said I refuse to get on these stations and vilify people for little petty, stupid, trivial stuff just so you can feel better about what you're saying. I will not do it. So if you guys want to talk about the traffic tickets and get in and get off and get it, listen, as you can tell, I'm not up for it. Because at the end of the day, people is out here virtue signaling, and they don't give no damn about no morals, no scruples, no nothing. Because you know what? Behind closed doors, they doing a bunch worse. Shedeur, understand. I think you'll learn from it. I think you'll understand it. But I also think you'll understand that just how much there's opposition to you doing anything successful. These folks ain't gonna stop. Don't give them no ammunition. I think you're a good kid. I think you're grown, not even a kid. I'm sorry, don't disrespect. I think you're a good young man. You'll learn from it. But at the end of the day, people stop talking to me about no traffic tickets. I ain't got no time for it because this country has a lot more problems that's at the front door, at the front gates as we speak. They're talking about football players and traffic tickets. Kick rocks. Thank you. Now, that's what I like to say about a mic drop. Now, let's get into something serious, something a little less funny. I got a show coming up. It's called The Top 5. It's much less stressful than sports. It talks about sports, music, culture, all that good stuff. And it basically is a top 5 trivia show. I'm going to show you a clip of it. And if you want to subscribe to it, it's in the description of this video on YouTube. Make sure you check it out. It is called Top 5. And it is also a link in the chat. You can click that link and sign up for it now. What's going? I saw what you did. You set this up. This is one coming up from one of our upcoming episodes. This is the top 5 most famous people of all time. Now, in this list, we have Shakespeare, we got Michael Jordan, we got Michael Jackson, we got a bunch of people. Taylor Swift is in this list, Elvis is in this list. So this is a clip from the show. This show will be released on July 5th. Make sure you check it out. We'll have a snippet on the 28th, but we're talking about how famous Michael Jackson was, and that just to set that up a little bit. I saw what you was going. I saw what you did. You played a dangerous game, but Michael Jackson is hard to defeat. Nobody,
he was on my list.
Nobody on this list had foreign, Korean, or Taiwanese men passing out.
Man,
they still got Michael Jackson in a Captain Crunch outfit.
The K-pop dudes are still trying to model their whole look after
him. He's the first person to walk around in a limousine, and the National Guard is outside.
Man,
just being like, just trotting next to
man, just leave me alone.
Kim Jong-un. I said we weren't gonna get political, but he got the same foot soldiers as Mike do.
Man,
his foot soldiers trot right next to him. You better be in shape right next to the car. That's a little snippet from Top 5. We'll talk about that coming up, man. Make sure you check that out. You can subscribe to that. It's in your description. We will have clips out. We have clips right down. We'll play a little segment of it on the 28th, which is next week on Saturday. And then July 5th is the first day of the show. We got all the episodes taped. It's a family show. We don't talk about religion. We don't talk about any presidents or politics. We just keep it really fun, and it's a game that you guys can play interactively at home. You can play along with us for points and different things like that. It's a real good watch, 20 to 25 minutes, and it's something that's really that passes time very easily, and it's a really good watch. So make sure you check that out if you're interested. Let's get to this. We talked about this, but before we do, I want to get to a couple comments here. Let me get to these comments. First and foremost, let me take this down so I can get some of y'all's comments in here. Oh no, there we go. D Bell says, it's not the speeding tickets, it's the money they make off of a bad mouthing Shedeur. I'm 70 and I speed in my XTG. If I had husband's truck, I'd be open to it, or I open it up to. Like, listen, man, like, don't be disillusioned about this. And I'm gonna give you an educational little spiel on this. Nowadays, what we talking about is this. You are correct. And I think the media is picking up on it a little bit. If you are a media member, right, there is no more what we would call traditional newspaper outlets. Everything is digital. So before, you used to be able to write in the paper, get it out, do whatever traditional print is. Now, everybody is fighting for this one little slice of pie. Everybody is fighting for this one little sliver of attention. And that attention is only on the internet. Now, if you get on the internet and you don't realize what is going to get you more clicks, negative stuff or positive stuff? Negative. Going against the grain or going with the flow? Going with the flow ain't going to get you. Going with the flow will get you 1,000 views. Going against the grain to give you 10,000. Saying Shedeur Sanders might be a franchise quarterback may give you, if you do it in a provocative way, you'll get some views. But you also gain a lot of views from people that are commenting on how crazy you are for some of the things you're saying. And if you did not know, the YouTube algorithm, it really, basically, it really enhances anything that you do when you comment on things. It actually is the gateway to getting more views. So the more negative things you say, right, and you just throw it out there, you get some of it so crazy, like it be obvious a little bit. When you say that, people are outraged, they're triggered, they comment on your comment section, and you know what happens? They boost. When anytime, now it's 75 different comments under there. And then it's comments after comments on there. So guess what? The algorithm says, oh, we love this content. We don't care if it's negative or positive. All we know is we can put advertisements on this because this video is getting likes, views, comments, and people are engaging. That's how it works. So when you listen to people, and I know because I work in the industry, when you listen to them, they don't be outraged like that. They don't even be caring like that. People be living exact opposite lives of whatever they doing. Like, no names necessary. I'm just so hurt. I was looking out for his feelings and, somebody this and that. I'm like, you be like, boy, y'all landed on thick. You know why? Because we all competing for this little sliver of attention, of views, of advertising, of all of it. So that's why when you see it, a lot of people say, if you don't like a person, what they saying, your best results is don't comment on it, don't click on it. It just is what it is. Y'all can click on whatever y'all want to, but I'm letting you know that's what happens when you click on stuff. And you are correct. And by the way, let's be clear. I mean, they just, you know how many people, professional athletes, Zach Edey just got caught at 101. But LeBron James was at 101. Come on now. Come on. Come on now. Like, come on. Y'all really up in arms? This is wild to me. Let me keep going. Weren't following what Mary Kay was saying until he got here. She was a full supporter and still is. I don't know what that quite means, but I read it. Von Randall, I truly appreciate you what you said. The absolute truth. Thank you. You know that for me, I can only say, let me give you this. As being only one of, I think, 3 African Americans that are doing in the media. And when I'm saying in the media, I'm talking about full time. I believe that there's a responsibility that you have where you have to tell the unapologetic truth, no matter if it makes people uncomfortable. You have to tell the truth. And the reason why you have to tell the truth is because it matters. When you go to these places and you try to counsel young Black kids, or you trying to see other people grow, and I'm going to jails and schools, and I'm seeing these individuals and I'm talking this talk, I'm gonna tell you, that's exactly how I feel, and I'm right on it. Like, if anybody is trying to say I'm right, you pose the argument. There is no argument. We look away from anything that we want to in this country, and we choose what we choose to vindicate. We choose what we want to crucify. We choose what we want to say is bad, right, or indifferent. Well, we got a whole nother very important part of our lives staring us in the face saying, this ain't right. It's Lee, it's the fact that they dropped the body cam so fast. 12 got to move like Christ the way he's criticized. You're right. It's the same thing we talked about with my dad. He said, yo, it's a different set of rules. You got to be, and you know what the crazy part about it? I can imagine a conversation that he probably had with his father. It's like this, man. It's crazy that you do have to move like that, but you got to be smarter, more intelligent, more well-spoken. You got to stay out of trouble. You can't do nothing with the law. You can't have no spats with the media. You can't do nothing. And sometimes that's a difficult road to walk. It's the road that you got to walk where you 23 years old and you got to move in a way where you got to move like you're Christ. Now, trust me, I'm a Christian. We all want to move like Christ. And that's a very hard road, and it's impossible to do. But at the end of the day, for somebody 23, it's kind of tough when people is looking for a lot of stuff. People is looking for it. People looking for it. Let's keep it pushing. Let's see. Yep. Making a deal off a stupid ass traffic ticket. This is what we talking about. But when I'm gonna come up and tell you like this, it ain't about the traffic ticket. We got to remember to keep the thing the thing. The main thing, the main thing. We're gonna come back and talk about that. Miss Robinson, to you, the kid is grown. Yes, he is. We corrected that he is not a kid. He is I believe, 23-year-old grown man. Jeremy Long says, the clown's up in arms about a speeding ticket is crazy. Most of the Cleveland media and negative fans want to see this dude lose bad, and it's sad and it's shameful. I thought about this for a long time, and I talked about this on a lot of my other channels, and I talked about this all the time. We've been so bad in Cleveland for so long that I think the media thinks that they the one playing football. You know what I'm saying? We've been so bad that only in Cleveland will people get the entitled level, like people is showing up to watch them play. No, like no one's showing up to watch me or whoever in the media play. But that type of energy that they got, right? It comes from. It's almost like one of those things when you're reading a fairy tale. It's almost like they gotta have a villain and they gotta have a savior. We've done it since I've been covering this stuff. We always gotta have a juxtaposition. We gotta paint somebody as the villain, the one that's the problem, the dude that ain't getting it done. And then we got somebody else over here who's the savior that can do no wrong. And it's wild to me that I'm like, bro, is this a fairy tale? Because they pick somebody. If you go back, analyze it, right? And you look at the situation, the words that they use to describe Shedeur Sanders can go for Deshaun Watson. It's gonna go for Odell Beckham Jr. It can go for, at times, Myles Garrett. It jumps. It don't even really got anything to do with the individual. It just jumps from person to person. And I always tell people like this. You know how I know it's fraudulent, and this is irrefutable. And this is how you know people don't care nothing about that. Nick Chubb, one of the best people, was a pillar of what the Cleveland Browns wanted to do. He rode that offense. He rode that offense, and that offense was Nick Chubb. He didn't drink, he didn't smoke, he didn't do nothing, he didn't do interviews. All he did was be a model citizen from point A to point B to point C. And guess what? When they thought he wasn't good enough to play and run the football, he was gone. Just like that. Just like that. Didn't matter how much time he put in the offseason to come back from injury. Didn't matter that he came back half hurt last year to give the Browns a boost. Didn't matter that he was everything you wanted him to be on and off the field. Didn't matter about what his character was or what he did in the community. When they felt he was not good enough to play, bye. And that's what the NFL stands for, not for long. So where's all the character then? Where's everybody jumping up and down about how great of a kid? I told people, I said, if anybody deserves an opportunity to end his career here, it's Nick Chubb. And you know what they said? Not good enough. To be damned with all the good stuff he did. Either you could play or you can't play. And Shedeur can play. Don't tell me about no off the field stuff. Because I just saw one of the best dudes that done walked in a Cleveland Browns jersey is playing for the Houston Texans now because the front office said he couldn't play anymore. So miss me with all that virtue signaling about why you can't play because you got in trouble when there's people out here ain't never got in trouble. That goalpost be moving every single step. Boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna move over here. Character counts right here, but it don't count over here though. It's irrefutable. Speeding tickets. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Come on, bro. What are you talking about? Just keep it pushing. G. Bush forgot that this young man, we all make mistakes. Shedeur hasn't done anything criminal, and he's allowed to have grace to his mistakes. Shedeur, keep doing your thing because God has his hands on you. We appreciate the super chat, Patrick. I appreciate it. Hey, I didn't say this. He said this. Ye without sin cast the first stone. G. Bush didn't say that. Because I know we done all did some speeding. So y'all can go ahead. Whoever ain't never sped before, y'all go ahead and cast the first stone. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. We appreciate all the super chats. Appreciate you guys, man. Let's see. We got one more here. It's sad that anyone believes Mary Kay is credible. She has not been factual when covering Shedeur. Stefanski has been lying and can't make a decision as a coach. Is that the standard? Look, when it comes to me, I'm gonna tell you this. I disagree with when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. I disagree with 99% of everything Mary Kay says. And I know Mary Kay. I know her. We had a relationship. Just because we got a relationship don't mean that I can't disagree with her. I disagree wholeheartedly. At the end of the day, it's about whether you could play or not.